In August 1996, a 20-year-old Nigerian had just done the impossible. He captained his country to Olympic gold, the first African nation to ever win football gold, after single-handedly dragging Nigeria back from 1-3 deficit against Brazil in the dying minutes. He was a global sensation. Inter Milan had just paid millions for him. Then, weeks later, a routine medical scan in Italy found something no one saw coming: a defective aortic valve, a heart that had been silently failing him for years. Doctors didn't hedge. One cardiologist told the press, and I quote loosely, he had been ill for a long time and it was serious enough to end his career. The boy, who had just conquered the world, was told his heart might kill him before it let him play again. This is a story of what that boy did next, and why in Igbo land they will tell you this was never just about football. Nwankwo Kanu was born on the 1st of August 1976 in Owerri, Imo State, an arrow son of the Igbo nation. His very name tells a story before he even kicked the ball. Nwankwo, a child born on Nkwo Market Day, one of the 4 sacred days in Igbo calendar. In Igbo cosmology, a name is never a decoration. A name is destiny, spoken aloud every day. By 15, he was already playing senior football. By 17, he had inspired Nigeria's under-17 to win the World Cup in Japan, scoring 5 goals and grabbing the tournament's Best Player award. Ajax Amsterdam came calling. In Amsterdam, this teenager from Abia State, who was born and raised in Owerri, won 2 Champions League titles and became a household name across Europe. Kanu Nwankwo remains the youngest player to ever win the UEFA Champions League. He achieved this prestigious European football record at just 18 years and 296 days old, lifting the trophy with Dutch giants AFC Ajax in 1995. Then came Atlanta 1996. Nigeria's dream team, Kanu Nwankwo as a captain, and that semi-final against Brazil, arguably the greatest comeback in Olympic football history. 2 goals from Kanu Nwankwo, a golden goal in extra time. Nigeria became the first African team ever to win Olympic gold in football. He wasn't just playing football, he was rewriting what was believed possible for a black African player on the world's biggest stages. This is Igbo excellence in its rawest form. Onyekwe Chiyekwe. When a man says yes, his personal God says yes too. Kanu Nwankwo said yes to greatness, and greatness answered him. But greatness has a price, and sometimes it comes disguised as tragedy. Weeks after Atlanta, Inter Milan's medical team ran the standard test before finalizing his transfer. What they found shook Italian football. A congenital defect in his aortic valve was found present. Doctors believed since birth, quietly worsening for years, hidden behind a body that had somehow carried an Olympic gold medal without anyone knowing it was fighting itself. Inter could have walked away. Legally, they had every right to void the deal. Instead, club president Massimo Moratti made a decision that changed a life. He kept Kanu on the books and personally financed a high-risk operation at the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio, one of the best cardiac surgery centers in the world. In November 1996, Nwankwo Kanu went under the knife to replace a faulty aortic valve. He was 20 years old. The same year, he had become African Footballer of the Year. The same year, he had stood on an Olympic podium to win gold medal. Now, he was learning to walk again in a hospital corridor in Ohio. Many assumed it was the end for him. Elite football and a repaired heart valve were not supposed to coexist. Kanu didn't return to competitive football until April 1997. Nearly 5 months of rehabilitation, prayer, and uncertainty. He has spoken often of his Christian faith carrying him through the darkness. But there is something distinctly Igbo too in how he faced it. A worldview where suffering is not the end of the story, but the forge. Ndị Igbo have a saying, Agadi ada kanka negwo malete. One does not grow old in the dance step. One knows best how to dance. He still knew how to play. He still knew how to dance. No operation room could take that away from him. He came back, not quietly, not diminished. He came back and built one of the most decorated careers African football has ever seen. At Arsenal, from 1999, Kanu became a cult hero. The languid, silky forward, with the touch of a man twice his size, playing like a wisp of smoke. In the 1999 to 2000 season alone, he scored 17 goals, playing alongside Thierry Henry and Dennis Beckham. He won 2 Premier League titles, including the legendary Invincibles for Arsenal in 2003 and 2004 season. Arsenal's unbeaten league campaign, one of the most romanticized achievements in English football history. He is still, to this day, one of the only footballers on earth to have won the Premier League, the FA Cup, the UEFA Champions League, the UEFA Cup, and Olympic gold together. 3 FA Cups, 3 Eredivisie titles, 2 African Player of the Year awards, 1996 and 1999. The second earned entirely on the far side of his surgery. And there is a detail that should stop every intellectual watching this in their tracks. In 2008 at Portsmouth, in the twilight of a career doctors once pronounced dead, Kanu scored the only goal in both the semi-final and the final of the FA Cup, single-handedly bringing the trophy back to Fratton Park after a 69-year absence. A hat that was supposed to have retired him a decade earlier was still writing headlines. 86 caps for Nigeria, 13 international goals, 3 World Cup appearances, 6 African Cup of Nations, a career from 1994 to 2011, 15 years longer than the surgeons in Cleveland dared to promise. But here is where the story becomes something bigger than sports. In the year 2000, Kanu founded the Kanu Heart Foundation, an organization built from the very wound that nearly ended him. It has since funded corrective heart surgeries for hundreds of underprivileged African children and helped establish cardiac care infrastructure across the continent. The man who was told his heart would silence him has instead used it to keep other hearts beating. This is the deeper current running underneath every Igbo success story. Igbo Odibo, the apprenticeship spirit, Akuluono, wealth that returns home. Igbo excellence has never simply meant individual brilliance. It means brilliance that circles back to lift the community that produced it. Kanu didn't just survive his heart condition, he converted it into infrastructure for other people's survival. There's an old Igbo proverb, Akanni kwa akekpe, akekpe akwa akanni. The right hand washes the left, and the left washes the right. Kanu was saved by Massimo Moratti's decision to invest in him rather than discard him. He has spent every year since paying that principle forward to children he has never met, in villages he did not grow up in, because that is what excellence in the Igbo understanding actually is. So, when you hear the name Kanu Nwankwo, just don't remember the Invincibles medals or the Olympic gold or the FA Cup goals scored by a man doctors had already written off. Remember a 20-year-old with a broken heart valve who refused to let a diagnosis become a eulogy and who turned his second chance into a bridge for a continent's children. That is not just a footballer story. That is Igbo excellence, beaten, quite literally, against the odds.
Hello, my name is Kanu Nwankwo, aka Papilo. You know me. I know what I went through. I had a heart problem, and thank God, I traveled all the way to America, operated, and came back playing football. It's a joyful thing today that I'm in Port Harcourt Saving Life Hospital. And look at this. Look at this wonderful machine. The first digital cath lab in Nigeria.
If you enjoyed watching this beautiful documentary of the life and achievement of Kanu Nwankwo, kindly hit the subscribe button. This is Enu Cultural Forum, where we promote the rich cultural heritage and Igbo excellence of the Igbo people. My name is Prince Onwadenem Ngozi Chukwuka Fortune, and I will see you in my subsequent videos. Bye.
Invincibles.